CQ, CQ, CQ. Calling CQ the Old Friends Net. CQ, CQ the Old Friends Net. This is Dave, WA4LLR, Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ the Old Friends Net. This net meets 3 times weekly, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at 8 a.m., Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. on or about this frequency. The net is conducted in the Amplitude Modulation mode and the roundtable format. It's geared mainly towards vintage equipment, but anyone that can generate an AM signal is welcome to participate. Net's an excellent place to look for information, parts and pieces, trade a rig or two, and just have a good time, mainly dealing with vintage gear. So, CQ the Old Friends Net. Stations wishing to check in, give me a call and come down.
N4LQ.
KZ4 Bravo.
All right, recognizing Steve, Gary, and John. Do we have any others?
K4G, W4MEC.
WB4ARK.
All right, recognizing George, Charlie, and Buddy. Any more? All right, recognizing Bruce. Do we have others? All right, here's what I have thus far. N4LQ, K3OS, KZ4B, K4GDN, W4MEC, WB4ARK, and N4WD. Do we have any more? All right, one more time through the list. N4LQ, K3OS, KZ4B, K4GDN, W4MEC, WB4ARK, N4WD. One more time, any more? Alrighty, well, good morning to everyone. We've got about 64 degrees and partly cloudy up here in the eastern jungles of Yancey County. Looks like it's going to get up to about 79 today, they say, and then the rest of the week will be in the 80s. Running the T150, receiving on the HQ110A, and getting a little bit of help from an SB220. So that's the conditions that prevail up here. Down to you, Steve, N4LQ, WA4LLR.
All right, WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, that sounds like good conditions. And T150 sounds superb. 68 degrees in Shelby, overcast for the time being. Dry weather is set in, I think. So, anyway, I think it's going to be kind of hot today. Running the SDR and the AL82 amplifier, so that's what we're doing today. Horizontal loop antenna up about 100 feet. So good morning to you, Gary. Over to you, K3OS, N4LQ.
Morning to you, Steve, N4LQ, K3OS in the group. Morning to everybody. Well, we've got a little overcast here, about 64 degrees, I think. Let me see. Yep. 64 degrees, but it's going to be scorching here, about 90 today and about 95, 96 tomorrow. Something like that, I guess. Anyway, that's what we got to look forward to. Welcome to hazy, hot, and humid North Carolina summers. That's for sure. So today is my anniversary. It's 53 years. It's also my wife's birthday, and You'll appreciate this. She's celebrating her birthday with a wonderful case of COVID, so hopefully coming out on the tail end of that. So we have no activities for today planned, but hopefully she's getting a little bit better. Anyway, some friends of ours were on a cruise, and I don't have to tell you what happened, and we were out to dinner with them late last night. So far, I have been immune from it. Anyway, down to you, John. KZ4 Bravo, K3OS.
Okay, K3OS in the group. This is KZ4 Bravo, fine business, Gary. Pretty good conditions today. Sun QS Baker, and I'm hearing what sounds like sideband bleeding through. Not so far, not bothering anybody, but we will see as the morning goes on. We're on the usual T150, driving the Ameritron AL1500, driving directly a 80 meter dipole through a gazillion miles of coax. So it's a wonder any signal actually makes it to the antenna. It is indeed going to be a scorcher today. I'm going to see if I can put off cutting grass till tomorrow, but I have to take the wife's car in. The rear hatch has ceased to function, and so it needs a look-see. So, time to pass it on over to George. K4GDN in the group, KZ4 Bravo, over.
KZ4B in the group, this is K4GDN. And so far I'm copying everybody pretty well. I think I may have missed a little bit on Charlie. We're excuse me, we're running the Drake 4B station this morning. And I guess I'm tuned up to run around 300 watts. It looks like the watt meter's kicking up a little over 200 on peaks. And I'm feeding that to a 10-tank 238 tuner, then to the Butternut 9V. And I was asked last time about radials on the 9V. I don't have radials. I've got the counterpoise. When I bought mine 25 years ago, you could still get that. And I did some minor modifications. I added, in addition to the wire that runs around the periphery of the two counterpoise legs, I added another wire about a third of the way in, and then a second wire about another 2/3 of the way in. And other than that, there's no changes to it. And right now it's about 12 feet off the ground. When I was still in Spartanburg, I hadn't modified the counterpoise yet, but it was about 25 feet off the ground there, and I got good results with it there. I was feeding it with about 100 feet of coax in Spartanburg, and I probably only have about 30 feet of coax on it now. So it seems to be doing pretty good. And let's see, I guess I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Charlie. I'm having a little trouble copying, but here he comes, Charlie. W4MEC in the group, K4GDN.
Okay, George, K4GDN in the group, W4MEC. Good signal this morning, George. Could copy you just fine. I usually worry when I get in the line behind you, because a lot of times the signal's not good enough for me to hear you or know when you quit transmitting. But not so this morning. About a S8 here, good signal. I can see you bouncing around there with your control modulation there. Good morning, fellas. I think it's about 63 or 4 degrees here, kind of overcast, partly cloudy, sun's peeking out now and then, but I don't see any rain out there. I got some static crashes. I took a quick look on the lightning locator there, and there's storms in Illinois, and there's storms down in North Florida, and but nothing close, but I'm getting the static off of them. Let's see. Not a whole lot going on here this morning. I posed a question about V-belt last night on the internet, and I have my alternator in my truck is squealing. The belt is squealing, especially when the headlights are on. And it's only one belt drive on that thing, and I have a feeling that the belt I put on, not necessarily is wearing out, but it's the wrong width. And it's a cogged belt, and apparently that cogged belt is preferred on a vehicle, and the original belt was a smooth side belt, no cogs. But I was wanting to add another belt on a pulley that isn't used, because the pulley on the alternator used to feed the air pump, but I've got a path from the crankshaft direct to the pulley that I can use. And while the concept of the let's say the surface movement of the belt should be the same from the short belt to the long belt, I just kind of was frying my brain there as to whether that they would fight each other. But everything's turning at the same RPM, so I guess the circle belt, little belt, is going to make the path a lot quicker than the long belt from one point to the other. But I was going to double up the belt and see if that'd cure the squealing there, or maybe go get a new belt and just use one. But I hate to see that open pulley. So anyway, that's what posed my mystery question about the adding a belt. So let's see, it goes down to Buddy next. WB4ARK in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC, WB4ARK. Well, we got a good copy on all the signals today. Power's making it to the antennas just fine. It's partly cloudy here, and yeah, it's going to be warm. So I've been fighting a UPS system. I bought 2 batteries to replace the ones that went bad, and right out of the box they won't come up to full charge. So I took them, one of them, and put it on my commercial charger that I keep on my classic car, and it won't come up to green. It stays on orange over 24 hours, right on orange. Won't come up past 12.3 or 4 volts. And I tried the other one, same thing, won't come up. So, gonna have to go back to the distributor and have a chat with them today, and see what's going on there. But sure have a problem, and so we'll be fighting that issue today, and I'll be glad when I get that done. Let's see what else we got. Well, I guess that's about it. Over to N4WD. This is WB4ARK.
Okay, WB4ARK, N4WD. Good morning, all. Everybody started out booming, and when the round after that, when the round started, I got somebody started a car or something that's somewhere just singing me to death with their spark noise. 72 degrees, supposed to get up to 90, low 90s. Humidity's down, which is good. Got the grass cut yesterday, and the garden tended. Got tomatoes out the wazoo, and zucchini and squash. Waiting on the cantaloupe and the cucumbers. And the V-belt, is your idler pulley tension right? Keep that belt tight on all those pulleys. I had one time, the idler pulley wasn't keeping the tension up like it should. Then I tightened it up and the outer pulley flew apart. Hope that ain't the case. Alright, let's see who's to go back to. WA4LLR, N4WD.
Alright, Bruce, phone business. Do we have any other check-ins that would like to join us come now?
W4NKL.
N4IYQ.
Alrighty, recognizing Cliff and Chuck. Anyone else? Let's go ahead and make one, give it over to Chuck. Chuck, give it back to me. WB4NKL, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, WB4NKL. Well, everybody's sounding good here this morning. Copied George fine, and Bruce was coming in good. It's a little hard for me to get up here and to get to the 8 o'clock start, so I was a minute or two late there this time. I'll try to do better in the future. I had 65 this morning. I don't know if it's climbed up from that yet or not, but it's heading up. We haven't had a 90-degree day yet, but they say by the weekend, maybe Saturday or Sunday, it might hit 90 here, so not looking forward to that. I can live with those 90-degree temperatures. Go ahead, Chuck. M4 IYQ, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff, WB4NKL, N4IYQ, boy band, really strange. Good morning all the way around. Won't be able to stay long, got to work today, but since y'all are in here early, wanted to say good morning all the way around. I think I had Dave, Steve, Gary, John, George, Charlie, Buddy, Bruce, and my neighbor Cliff. So we'll say good morning all the way around. We'll just listen, and hope everybody has a great day. Try to get in here over the weekend a little more often. WA4LLR to pick it up and take it, N4IYQ.
All right, Chuck, fine business. Do we have any other check-ins coming in? All right, nothing heard. Well, Chuck, sure is good to have you with us. Hope you can make one more, but if you can't, we understand. Cliff sounded good as usual, and Bruce, you are strong up here today. Sorry about the spark noise. It sounded like you got the gardens in full swing. Buddy, sorry to hear about the new batteries that are defective right out of the box. That's discouraging. Charlie, hope you conquer the belt squeal. Sounds like it mainly does it when it's under load. I believe you said it squealed when you turned the lights on or something. And George, the Drake station is doing a good job. And John, your 150 always sounds good. That gives us 2 in here today anyway. And Gary, congratulations on the 53rd anniversary. Happy birthday to your wife, and so sorry that she's got COVID for her birthday. Bless her heart, and I hope and pray that you remain immune. Steve, the little current technology is doing a good job, so everybody is in good shape. Well, let's see. The latest space weather I was looking at said a sunspot count of 150, a solar flux index of 165, and a K of 0.7. So that's a pretty stable magnetic field. I noticed that the interplanetary magnetic field had shifted south, so it has a negative value, and that makes it possible for the magnetosphere to open up and let some stuff in, but it's a fairly low negative number, so we may not get too much trouble from it today. So barring strong solar flares, ought to be a pretty good day on the radio. A few items from this day in history. This day is not extremely newsworthy, but a few things. On this day in 1966, the Miranda rights were established. On this day in 1983, Pioneer 10 crossed the orbit of Neptune. On this day in 1967, Thurgood Marshall was nominated to the Supreme Court. 1807, Thomas Jefferson subpoenaed to testify in Aaron Burr's treason trial. And that's about the size of it, so not a whole lot of earth-shattering things on this day in history. So, Steve, back down to you. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. Yeah, Miranda writes, you have the right to remain silent unless we shoot you first. Oh, yeah, that vertical's doing a good job, George. You couldn't be stronger, really. And audio is nice and crispy and penetrating. And let's see, Buddy has been fighting a UPS, and I have too, but it's the other kind of UPS. that drives brown trucks. I had a AL811H shipped out of Chattanooga a couple days ago, and it's supposed to arrive yesterday, and it didn't. And I have notified UPS that it seems to have been lost. And they changed the tracking update to it now says the delivery date will be provided as soon as possible. In other words, we don't know where it is. So it went from Chattanooga to Nashville, and then over to Mebane, North Carolina, which is up near I-40, I believe. Not that far away, and it can't seem to get down here. So hopefully they can find it. That's why my cables are all messed up, because I had gotten ready for it, and the boat anchors are not hooked up right now, so I'm going to have to do some rearranging. And let's see, find on the anniversary, Gary, and the 53. We had our 56th the other day on the 1st of July, and we got married on July 1st or June 1st, and the XYL's birthday is June the 2nd, and I'm always getting them backwards. So anyway, we'll turn it over to Gary. K3OS N4LQ.
N4LQ K3OS. Okay. Yeah, well, kind of similar situation there, Steve. I don't know how we ended up getting married on her birthday, but the good news is I have never forgotten either one. So I have not been in the doghouse ever on that one. I can't imagine if I ever did. Anyway, it's 53. Yeah, 53. Sometimes you got to do it. Hey, listen, on the UPS, I've had that happen to me similarly. And when you get the online data, when that happens, call them. The phone agents that you get on the phone have access to more data than you do than they provide online, and they can give you some better information if you get on the horn with them. They can generally figure out what's going on. The computer reporting system is nowhere near as good. Good morning to Chuck. Good morning to Cliff. Good morning to Bruce. George, man, you came on. It was the loudest I've ever heard you. My S meter is swinging, but that's okay. I can hear everybody. So let me pass it down the list. And John, KZ4B. My coffee pot, my new, my Jim Dandy new, whatever the thing is, the K-cup, Keurig, that makes all the RF racket. Well, I solved that problem, John. I actually bought a filter, but I decided not to put it in because then I'd have to mount the filter in a box and do all that stuff. Instead, I put a little switch on the outlet. And when I'm finished using the coffee maker, I just turn the switch off. And that solves the problem of RF noise. I may end up putting the line filter in but we'll see. It was just the switch turned out to be easier, and they were discontinuing the switch. I don't know, at the Ace Hardware store. It's a switched outlet gadget, in the Decora, the little rectangular format, was a $15 switch. Well, Ace was discontinuing them in the the almond color, which is what I need, for $1.50. So I bought two. And such a deal. So anyway, I'm pretty happy. Down to you, George. K4GDN K3OS.
I think it's supposed to go to me, doesn't it? Over.
Oh, my mistake. Yeah, go ahead, John.
This is KZ4B. Fine business, Gary. And happy anniversary. And good luck with the coffee maker. I ended up with a line filter on mine. It's amazing that it makes noise even if it's turned off. but it definitely does. That's not your imagination. Shifting gears, buddy, it sounds like they sent you a sulfated battery, which is no good. That's terrible. I can't imagine how that happened if it's a dated battery, unless they never put it on a charger and it self-discharged and sulfated. And it had to have been done it pretty quick. And let's see. There was one other thing I wanted to comment on, and it has slipped me. Bruce, I am not copying you. The conditions today, signals are crazy good to crazy bad. Dave, you went on my Super Scotch S-meter on my PR30 receiver. You've gone from 20/9, which is killer, to less than S9, and it's so we are getting a lot of QS Baker here today, and nice to hear all the nice sounding T150s for such a transmitter that gets such a low rating. If you can resurrect it, it does a pretty darn good job. And I'm certainly enjoying mine. So I will pass it on over to George, and George, you're coming in great when the QS Baker is up. Conditions are good between here and Myrtle Beach, relatively speaking. So, K4GDN in the group, KZ4B, over.
KZ4B in the group's K4GDN. Well, thanks for all the good signal reports. I've always had really good luck with the butternut 9B, both here and in Spartanburg. And I never did quite understand all the criticism that the counterpoise got, particularly from RF Parts. They quit selling it. You can get it from a Canadian company, but it works fine for me. And I'm copying everybody fairly well, with the exception of Charlie. I can hear Bruce, Cliff, and Chuck probably 75-80% of the time. Cliff probably a little more than that, and everybody else is coming in here fairly well. Appreciate getting in here and you calling the net today, Steve. Dave, I'm going to say 73 on this one. I've got to take my wife to a doctor's appointment. We've got some other errands we've got to run. I'll try to get in here Sunday. I'm not sure on how that's going to be. But with that, I'll pass it on to Charlie. W4MEC in the group, K4GDN, 73, guys.
Okay, George, K4GDN and the group W4MEC. All right, no problems that time either. Good copy. So I'm going to have to get my 160 meter inverted V dialed in here for 3715 so I can switch between the two. It's a little bit different angle than my dipole. Maybe that'll help. So we'll see. Let's see what else here. Oh, my son and I are looking for a log splitter, and I've been doing some research, and he's been doing some research. And it's funny, you you punch in log splitter, and you find these sites called the 5 best, or the 10 best, or the 20 best log splitter for whatever year, and you go back there and look at them, and by different people, like Bob Vila and Better Homes and Log Splitters and stuff like that. And they always pick one they call the best, and then they list several when it comes to gasoline powered, and then they list the hand powered, if you've seen those things with the two walking sticks, and electric powered, and but they usually only list one gasoline powered. But the thing is, none of the sites that have the best 5, 10 or whatever have the same one as number one. So they're pushing a particular brand. They're not any good for anything. So we've just been reading about specifications and looking at comments and of people that had to have about them. It's interesting. I'd like to get one in a 30-inch log range, meaning diameter, and with all of the type of wood that we have, it recommended about a 33-ton splitter, but a 28 or so will do the job just as well. But, you know, the range of prices is fantastic. The range of construction styles is fantastic. And what's puzzlement is you can find a log splitter like a 27-ton, and it'll only do a 12-inch diameter log, and then you can find one that'll do a 36. So I'm not sure about why that is, you know. So you would think, I'm sure it has to do with the size of the ram, the wedge on the ram and all that, but still, that's quite a disparity between the diameter of the log for one in a given price range. So anyway, that's what we're looking at. And we also looked at renting one for a week. It's about $360 to rent one for a week. So we're pondering that too. So, and that's a pretty good one. I looked up the model that they rent here locally at United Rentals, and it's a Barretto or something like that. It's about a $4,000 splitter, so it's a good splitter. It ought to do the job. And but anyway, just the trials and tribulations of looking to buy one of those things is kind of like buying a car or radio. So anyway, let's see. And here comes the buddy at WB4ARK in the group W4MEC.
W4MEC, WB4ARK. Yeah, George, I don't think you're going to hear Charlie till he puts that ART-13 on the air. That'll cut through anything. Let's see, Gary, sorry I missed your anniversary. Congratulations on that. It's interesting that my wife and I have our anniversary and our wedding within a few days of each other, so I can't miss that. And let's see. Yeah, the Keurig. Yeah, that's a really good idea, Gary. I thought about that, but didn't act on it because we didn't like the Keurig. It didn't produce the type of coffee taste that we really liked, so it didn't last too long. Yeah, I first plugged that thing in and it was sitting there, and that went upstairs, turned on my receiver, and it's all this noise. I said, what in the world can that be coming from? I went downstairs and unplugged that thing, and that stopped that noise. So, yeah, it's a good way to cure the problem. Simple way to cure the problem, and not very expensive. A little bit cheaper than the Qualcomm filters. But those filters do act correctly for many noise-producing devices, as I can attest to that. Most signals are very strong, except Bruce, who's almost got down to the point where it's almost unreadable. I had my headphones on, and there was a sideband station coming through, and it was very difficult to hear what he was saying, but I did copy most of the gist of the conversation. So yeah, that's the first time I've ever bought sulfated batteries. Came right out of the box. SLA 1116, the type. 17 ampere hour battery, and it's a Hoss of the battery. You can pick it up with one hand, but you know you picked up something when you do. And so they're going to go back. I had a suspicion when I opened the package, and there was a little gray granular sulfate type material on the outside of one of the batteries around where it's sealed. So I had my suspicions from the get-go before I even connected it. But that was an eye-opener, and those things are not cheap either, and they don't last all that long, about 3 or 4 years. So anyhow, over to Bruce. We'll see how we coming in this time. N4WD, WB4 ARK.
N4WD. Go ahead, Bruce. WA4.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he had turned it over or not. N4WD. Batteries, UPSs, on me. Yeah. If you have one that gets lots of heavy use, they say they recommend replace everything every 3-4 years. I think the commercial guys replace them at the hospital. They replace them every year. Catch a hospital that uses a bunch of them and they pull them out. Might be for UPSs. Did I miss? Hi. And what else was there? Oh, let's see, 38 years for me and the YL. So we're chunking right along. Kids are trying to catch up with us. So that's about it here. Let me see here. WB4 NKL, N4WD.
N4WD, WB4 NKL. Okay, Bruce. Good copy. I'm going to say 73s also. I've got some people coming by. They're looking at putting a coating or on the parts out here. So they're supposed to be here any minute, so I'm going to go ahead and say 73s. Thanks for calling it, Dave, and we'll look for everybody there Sunday. And I'll send it to Chuck. Maybe he's already headed out. He said he had to go to work, so if not, back to you, Dave. N4IYQ, WB4NKL.
Yeah, sounds like he's had to head out on the trail. Let me take a quick standby. Any late check-ins coming in? Alrighty, 7-3 to George and Charlie. I'm sorry, not Charlie, but Cliff and Chuck. I think those are the only ones that checked out. If I'm wrong, somebody can correct me. Well, let's see. Steve, sorry about the UPS chasing your package around trying to find it. And you were talking about your birthday and anniversary. Well, let's see. My birthday was June the 25th, and we got married June the 26th. So that's not too hard to remember. So this is our, let's see, 54th. We got married in 1970. So happy anniversary to all the folks that are celebrating. And Gary, sure hope your wife gets over that COVID quickly. And Buddy, sorry about the batteries and the COVID not the COVID, the Keurig that was a RF generator and just didn't make coffee to suit you. Well, I like percolator coffee, the old-fashioned kind, about better than anything I've ever tasted. I remember my grandmother had a percolator that she sat on the wood cook stove, and it was kind of interesting looking thing. It looked more like a pitcher. It had a long spout that came out, and it tapered down to a small stem about the size of your finger, and then out on a real flat plate on the bottom, and a glass knob on the top, and you could watch that thing start percolating up in that glass knob. I know when I was a kid I was fascinated by it. I've still got it somewhere, and that made the best coffee I've ever seen. A friend of mine used to refer to it. He'd come in and say, "I want a cup of that long stem coffee." Oh man. And Bruce, you're still hanging there pretty good this morning, and keep growing those tomatoes, brother. All righty, we'll send it around for one more anyway. N4LQ, and I hope the Pony Express finds the goodies. WA4LLR.
Okay, Dave. WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, I was looking for the phone number, and I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get some kind of robot, and I just read the procedure to deal with these robots. One guy said if you swear a lot at the robot, it'll eventually turn you over to a human. And another guy recommended speaking gibberish, and it'll say, "I can't understand your answer. Let me turn you over to a help desk or something." So I'm really looking forward to this. Anyway, I just noticed that we are operating on a wavelength of 80.69783.526 meters. So we're on like 80, almost 81 meters. And did you know that 75 meters isn't until you get almost to 4 megahertz? It's right there at 3.9999, way up there. So I don't know why everybody says 75 meters. We're on 80 meters here. Couric QRN from Couric's. Mine is a couple of years old that my daughter gave me, and it works just fine. It's a cheap, small one, and it just makes, of course, 1 cup at a time. And it makes some QRN when it's pumping out the coffee, the last cycle. That's the only time I can hear it, and it really puts out a lot of static, but it doesn't wipe out the band, but I can see it on the spectrum all the way across the spectrum. It's amazing. I don't know what it's doing. Bruce, congratulations on your 38 years. You know, when we got married, I was 19, and the XYL was 17. And I think people got married, generally speaking, a little bit younger back in the 60s. But it's been fine. No problem at all. Not true for everybody, but just thankful that it worked out. 73's to George and to Cliff and Chuck and anybody else who has left. And with that, I will turn it on over to, let's see who's left, K3OS, N4LQ.
All right, Steve, N4LQ and the group K3OS. Yeah, well, obviously we were in our early 20s when we got married here. That was over when I was we were living over in Winston-Salem, working over there for a while. Those were the interesting years, some fun, and the fun years, of course. Yeah, the coffee maker is an interesting thing. The newer ones make racket. This one, which is the combination unit, does both the pot and a single serve. Like John has said, makes racket all the time. And I'm not enamored with it either because it doesn't have a heated carafe, and I kind of like my coffee really hot. But we're dealing with that. You know, it's got one of these insulated things, and once it's through, it's it. So, but we shall see. We shall see. There are reasons why we got rid of it, and that's another story. And what the one we used as a replacement, if you will, why we switched out coffee makers. And I don't think I'll go into that. I wish everybody a very 73, and catch you later. All right, this time I'll get it right. KZ4B, K3OS.
Okay, K3OS in the group, KZ4B, fine business, Gary. Yeah, I make my wife mad when we're in company and somebody will say, well, how long have y'all been married? And I'll say, forever. And, oh, it makes her so mad. But it's a long time, I'll tell you, but it's been good. Steve, good luck getting your AL811H. UPS lost a muffler. I've got a Triumph TR8. It's a little Triumph sports car with a V8 engine, and they only made about 3,000 of them. And I ordered a stainless steel muffler exhaust system, and they lost half the mufflers. And so when it came time, they couldn't find it, never did. And when it came time to settle up, they said, well, we'll pay you for the mufflers we lost. Well, the thing is, they only sold them in sets. So you got all of it or nothing. So I said, you guys owe me for the whole set, because I can't order the muffler you lost. I have to buy the whole dang thing. And we went round and round and round, and finally they never would pay for the whole set. And I was in Malaysia and ran into a guy from Kent, England, whose best buddy, it was Falcon exhaust, and his best buddy was a Welshman that owned the Falcon exhaust company. And so he talked this guy into sending me one muffler, and it was free. So I lucked out, but UPS never did come through. They're just makes me not happy. So that's my tale of woe. Well, thanks for calling the net, Dave. You always do a great job, and your signal always booms in. And I hope everybody has a great week, what's left of it. So, I think George is gone. So, Charlie, I think it's yours. W4MEC, KZ4B, clear but listening.
Okay, John, KZ4B in the group, W4MEC. Real good, fellas. Let's see. Yeah, well, I was 1 month short of 26 when I was getting married in 1979, so you guys got a couple of years on me, but anyway, the main thing is still with the original person I married. I think that's the important part, 45 years ago. Let's see, what else here? Coffee pot. I have one of those, Dave, made by Faberware. I got it as a present. I can't remember. It might have been a Christmas present or birthday present. And it came with a lid with a plastic knob on the top where it perked in there. And my wife actually got, you can find the glass replacement. Looks exactly like it. And it's just a screw-in thing. Has a little retainer. So I've got kind of a quasi-original one with the glass handle that you can see it perking in. And I like it. Of all the coffee pots, I like it. But the smallest amount you can make is 4 cups. So I use if I only want just 1 cup, which well, I have a French press I can use, but I also have a Mr. Coffee that does like 3 or 4 cups, but it'll make as little as 1 cup. So it's a little tiny little thing, and I think I can't remember if I told the tale of woe of the one I used to have, where I quit working and it was all electronic. You could set the time. It had 2 buttons on it, one to set the time and one to make it brew. And it quit working, and I got in the darn thing. I said, well, this darn circuit board had an IC on it. It was shot. I couldn't figure it out, and it's a proprietary part, and there's some oddball number that doesn't exist. And so I took all the electronics out after studying it, and really the only thing in a Mr. Coffee is a heating element and a click-on. And once all the water boils out, the heating element starts to get too hot, and the temperature clicks on, turns off the power. And as it cools back down again, it clicks back on again and turns the heater back on to keep the coffee hot. So I said, shoot, there's nothing to this thing. So I put in a switch, just a toggle switch, rather a rocker switch, and a couple of neon bulbs, old school NE2s. And when you turn it on now, the one bulb comes on to tell you it's on, and the other one comes on to tell you it's brewing, and it clicks on, clicks when it just like it used to, and turns the heater off, and the lamp goes out. So, so it works just like the good one with the computer chip in it. So anyway, and like the old ones that had lights in them like that too. So. Anywho, just a detour into the coffee maker world. So anyway, 7-3 to all. Good to hear you this morning. We'll look for you on Sunday morning, yes, Sunday afternoon. And yes, interesting your comment, Steve, about 80 meters versus 75, and perhaps it goes all the way back to the old days of CW only down there, but maybe the middle of the band is 80 and that was close enough, Who knows? But a convention lost to the history. Anyway, 7-3-all, we'll see you later, and I think, let's see, Buddy's still here? WB4ARK, W4MEC.
Are you still with us, buddy?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I was in the middle of soldering something. I want to make sure I've got it. Okay, so, yes, I don't have anything else I had to say, so we'll just say 73, and thanks, Dave, for doing the net, and keep up the good work, and your receiver has been finished, and I hope you like what I've done. N4WD, WB4ARK.
Okay, N4WD. Well, 73-1. Everybody have a rest of the week. Be safe. Blessings on all. I hope the wife gets feeling better there. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, COVID. I get tired of hearing about it. I guess everybody else is too, but it's still hanging in there. And I think I've asked this before real quick for those that are still around. J38 tension spring. The little spring that looks like a pyramid. Looking for one. If anybody's got one, drop me an email. And get on QRZ or send it to ARRL. And we sure could use one for a J38 we picked up at the Army surplus store up the street from us here. The only thing that wasn't with it. Everybody have a blessed one. And I think NKL and I like you already gone. I'll toss it up for NKL, but I think he left earlier. If he didn't, take it over. N4WD.
Yeah, they're both gone. Anybody have a suggestion for Bruce on the spring for a J38? Sounds like they don't, Bruce. I got a J38, but I don't have an extra spring. but I'll certainly keep my ears open. And buddy, if you worked on it, I know I'll like it. So good deal on the Collins. And Charlie, that's interesting on re-engineering the coffee pot. Well, fellas, it's been a good one. I hope everybody has a great day. 7-3, God bless, and Lord willing, we will look for you on Sunday, and Sunday is Father's Day, I do believe. So everybody have a great rest of the week. This is W84LLR. Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends Net. Have a great day.
Hey, Bruce, there's some guy on eBay selling springs for $15 in 4LQ.
But the box is outside. I'm going to take a look. I can't remember if there's a spring in it, but it might be in there, and if it's in there, I'll let you know, and I'll send it your way. So let me go check. N4WD, W4MEC. Bye-bye.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. N4WD.